All right, today we are going to, metaphorically of course, tear up the floorboards to get at the single most overlooked factor when you're choosing laminate flooring. I'm telling you, it's the one detail that can mean the difference between a floor that lasts for decades and one that's a huge disappointment. So let's get right into it.
Okay, picture this. You're in the hardware store. You're surrounded by what feels like a million different flooring options. You're trying to make a smart choice, right? So, what's the first thing you look for? What's guiding your decision? For most people, it really boils down to three things: color, style, and thickness, right? You pick up a sample plank, you feel how heavy it is, and you just kind of assume that thicker means better. It just feels more solid, more substantial. But, and this is a big but, that's one of the biggest myths out there.
So, what if I told you that feeling of heft, that thickness, is actually misleading you? Today, we're going to look past the surface. We're going to reveal the hidden component that really determines how well your floor is going to hold up. And to do that, we've got to go inside the plank itself. Because the real strength, the secret sauce of a good laminate floor, it's not on the surface you walk on. Nope, it's buried deep inside its core. Yeah, think of every laminate plank as a kind of engineered sandwich. You've got the top layer, that's the wear layer for protection. Then, right under that is the design layer, that's what makes it look like beautiful wood or stone. Flip it over, and you've got the backing layer for stability. But the most important part, the real hero of our story, is smack dab in the middle, the core layer. This is the heart and soul of the plank. And this analogy we found is just perfect. Think of the core as the skeleton of the floor. You don't see it, but it's the entire foundation that determines how well the whole thing holds up. Without a strong skeleton, the whole system is just fragile, no matter how pretty it looks on the outside. Okay, so if the core is the skeleton, what makes that skeleton strong? Well, here's the twist. It's not thickness, it's something called density. And that, my friends, is the real unsung hero of a long-lasting floor. So what exactly is core density? It's really just a measure of how tightly all the material inside that core layer is packed together. We're talking about wood fibers and resin that get squished together under incredible heat and pressure. And the more you compress them, the denser and, yeah, you guessed it, the stronger that core is. Generally, laminate cores come in two main flavors. You've got MDF, which stands for medium density fiberboard, and HDF, or high-density fiberboard. And as you can see right here, the difference is huge. HDF just packs in way more material into the same amount of space, which makes it physically a whole lot denser and tougher. And this table really breaks down what that density difference means in the real world for your actual floor. Because HDF is stronger, those little click-lock joints that hold the planks together are way more secure, so you get fewer gaps. HDF is also much better at resisting swelling if it gets wet. That's exactly why HDF is the gold standard for busy places like kitchens and hallways, while you'll mostly find MDF in cheaper budget products for low-traffic spots like a closet. All right, this brings us to the main event, the showdown. We're putting density and thickness head-to-head to finally bust that myth that thicker is always better. So, let's say you're holding a 12mm plank. Wow, it feels thick, right? It feels heavy. You're thinking, this has got to be good quality. But if it's got a low-density MDF core, it's basically just a puffy, weak board. It's going to be way more vulnerable to swelling, to dents from dropped items, and just general wear and tear. Now let's compare that to an 8mm plank. Yeah, it's a lot thinner, but it's made with a super dense HDF core. This thinner plank is going to be way tougher. It'll resist dents better, the joints will lock together tighter, and it's just going to handle the chaos of daily life in a busy house so much better. So here's the bottom line. Thickness isn't totally useless. It does affect how a floor feels under your feet and the sound it makes when you walk on it. But density is what determines its actual performance. Think of it this way. Density is for strength and durability, and thickness is more about comfort and sound. Okay, so now we get the why. Let's talk about the how. How can you actually use this info to be a smarter shopper the next time you're looking for flooring? Well, first, it helps to know where laminate stands compared to other popular floors. What's interesting is that a good HDF laminate core is actually denser than the plywood you find in a lot of engineered hardwood. And while it's not as dense or waterproof as something like rigid core vinyl, it hits this amazing sweet spot of being super durable, affordable, and looking really realistic.
Here's a real pro tip for you, something you can actually look for on the product specs. There's an industry standard that tests how much a board swells up when it's soaked in water. A quality laminate with a dense core should swell less than 18%. So the lower that number, the denser and more water-resistant the core is. It's a fantastic, objective way to judge quality.
So let's wrap this up with your smart shopping checklist. Number 1, always choose a high-density fiberboard or HDF core. Number 2, a thickness of 8 millimeters or more is a good target, but only if it's paired with a dense core. Number 3, look for quality seals like the Nelfa Sealed here in North America. And finally, don't be shy. Ask the salesperson straight up about the core density or the swelling test results. And there you have it. The next time you're out shopping for a floor, you'll know the secret is to look beyond the surface. Because it isn't the thickness you can feel that matters most. It's the invisible density of the core that's really doing all the hard work. So it leaves you with one question, right? What's really holding up your floor?